Hey everyone, it's Adam here from the Franchise Tag, and I am here to go through who my top five tight ends are in order to help you win your fantasy league this season. Now, tight ends it's a difficult one really as to where to go with it. Sometimes you feel like you should draft early and get a really top quality tight end like a Travis Kelce. Sometimes you feel like you want to wait and go right to the end. So what I've done is I've come up with five for you that some are at the top, some are in the middle, some at the bottom. So the first tight end I'm going for is Mark Andrews at the Baltimore Ravens. So Andrews didn't have the greatest year last year. He finished as the tight end five. He did miss a couple of games, but most importantly, he lost Lamar Jackson due to injury. The reason that I feel that it's going to be different this time is that Jackson, he runs a lot, but I feel like that's not going to be quite as much this year. Todd Monken has come over to be the new offensive coordinator, and he operates a completely different system to how Greg Roman used to do it. I think that's going to certainly mean that there's going to be a lot more in the passing game. That means that Andrews is going to get used a lot more than what he was last year. It's only back in 2021 as well. You got to remember he was the number one tight end, and I think that that means that the sky is truly the limit if they can keep fit. And I feel like that keeping fit is something that Lamar's going to be able to do if he's not running as much. So he is going sort of back of the second round, early third is where you're seeing Mark Andrews go most of the time. And although that is expensive, if you genuinely want that stud tight end, then I think that he's probably the one to go for over Kelsey. Like I said, in 2021, he was the number one, so he did better than what Kelsey did. So I think it's entirely possible that you could see that happen again. So definitely like Mark Andrews if you want to go for a tight end early. If you want to go for a tight end sort of in the middle, someone a bit more sort of like going around the sixth round at the moment, Dallas Goedert is the one that I'm looking at. Now, Goddard is, to be brutally honest, Mr. Reliable in that Philadelphia Eagles side. He's always there. He doesn't miss many games. He finished as the tight end 10 last year, so it's not amazing, but he's always going to get you a handful of touchdowns, about 600 yards, and that's always going to get him around tight end 10. But he does have the potential to do more. Jalen Hurts always uses him as his safety blanket, and it's entirely possible that he will continue to do that all the time that Goddard was there. In the same way that quarterbacks that the Eagles used to do with Zach Ertz. It's just he was the next guy. So I think he's a very good one to go for. If you're in the sixth round as well, I mean, chances are you've got yourself two running backs, two wide receivers at least. Probably gone and got yourself a quarterback as well if you fancy one of them early quarterbacks. You might want a reliable sort of tight end there in order to finish off your starting lineup. And so Goddard, as I said, he's not going to get you masses of points every week, but he's going to do pretty well for you. And he's a solid choice. So I do like Dallas Goddard. Round the sixth round, tight end seven going off the board. So he's a good choice to go for. My third pick that I'm going to go for is someone now I'm sort of moving more towards the dart throws, someone a lot later. I tend to pick tight ends a bit later. I don't normally go for them really sort of big names. So I've got a guy about the 10th round. He's currently going as a tight end 11, but he did finish as the tight end 21, but he's young, and I think he'll do pretty well this year, and that is Chig Okonkwo. Now, Okonkwo is everyone was going mad for Okonkwo just a few weeks ago because obviously all that was there in Tennessee was Treylon Burks and him. But I just feel like now that Hopkins has gone there, you're starting to see the hype come down a bit, and you're starting to realise that it's like people are not quite so keen on him. You should still be just as keen as what you were before Hopkins turned up. The fact of the matter is, he was a great tight end, big bodied tight end. He had 450 yards last year, great in the red zone, managed to get himself 3 touchdowns as well. It was his first year. That's decent in the first year as a tight end. Everyone knows that it's really tough for tight ends to be able to progress in the league in that first year. So you would expect better from him. And I think that Tannehill is going to use him as that red zone target. And I don't really see why he's going to get any worse in that respect. By taking him in the 10th round, it is a dart throw. You know, you've got yourself your quarterback, you've got yourself your tight end. Sorry, not your tight ends. You've got yourself your running backs and your wide receivers, and you've got depth as well. Some people want to go for this at tight end and think, actually, every other week he could really push on and get yourself some decent points from tight end. So really like the look of Okonkwo, and just think that he's going to be used a lot compared to some of the others. Another one, again, around the 10th, 11th round, Greg Dulcich. Like Dulcich, again last year, similar to Okonkwo, not quite as good. He finished as the tight end 28 last year, but he had that sort of like, with Russell Wilson, it wasn't really working. I think it probably will this year. All the time that Sean Payton was coaching with the Saints, they had a tight end that was really doing well. I feel like Greg Dulcich will do well. Again, it was just his first year last year, 411 yards, handful of touchdowns. There's no reason why he can't do better and do similar to what Okonkwo could do this year. They're both guys that are young and have the potential to really kick on. So really like him at that point. He's been drafted as the tight end 15, which it feels like his potential is being put in the price for that. But when you're in that sort of 10th, 11th round, it doesn't really matter. You just want someone who is going to get you some points during the week. And I think that Dulcich has got a good chance of doing that. My final tight end, again, another dart throw. This one in the 13th round. Really surprising that he's as low as what he is, because he actually had a really good season last year. Tight end 8 is what he finished last year. 508 yards, 7 touchdowns. It was Juwan Johnson for the New Orleans Saints. Now, I think it's a strange one. There's been some news. There's been a few tight ends go in there. Jimmy Graham's come back, which is very surprising. But they've always had good tight ends at the Saints, and Juwan Johnson did really, really well. So I think that you'll probably find that he's going to be the main guy. I don't really see Taysom Hill or out of retirement Jimmy Graham really making the difference here. So I think that Juwan Johnson will definitely be part of it. He is kind of touchdown dependent, I will admit that, but you're looking at the 13th round for this guy to go. And I think if you're looking at the 13th round, he really is a dart throw. He could almost be your number 2 tight end if you really wanted to. You could go down that route with him. And I just think that he's got a really good chance of matching something what he did last year. And if you can get that 13th round pick being the number 8 tight end, you've done pretty well for your fantasy team and got great value. So they're the guys that I like for you. Mark Andrews, Dallas Goedert, Chig Okonkwo, Greg Dulcich, and then finally Juwan Johnson. Keep it with the franchise tag. We've got loads of things coming out. We've got more interviews with lots of NFL players and teams coming out. We've got the fantasy league that is coming back. That's going to be there for you. There's going to be some betting shows as always. You see me and Andrew doing the betting stuff, and then you've got Fred on the chat show as well every week. So keep it with the franchise tag, and we'll see you soon.